Get up to 2 months of free podcasting service with Libsyn. Check out the show notes for your promo code to get started podcasting today.
Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to make sure you know all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Don't miss out on all new episodes of Wade's World, Boob Windows and Long Boxes, our Hard R movie reviews, and so much more, all completely uncensored. Access starts for as little as $1 a month, full videos when you pledge $3 a month. Check us out at the link in all of our show notes, or just go straight to patreon.com/capesandlunatics. Hope to see you there.
Hello, this is Russell from
Tombz of Evil.
and you're listening to Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast.
Yes, welcome back, Loony listeners. You are listening to Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast. This is episode 283, and you are with both your high priests of KHONSHU, Ray and Rebecca. Rebecca, hello.
Hi, crazy. It's,
yeah.
It's crazy we're even here.
Very crazy. I know it's a little tinged with sadness as well. It's kind of over, but it's exciting. And Loony listeners, we are here for a Moon and Stars. One of the last few left for this coverage of the Moon Knight TV show, and what Rebecca and I will be doing today, whenever you hear it, is a reaction review and discussion on episode 6. I didn't get a title for it, Rebecca.
So the title showed as episode 6.
Yeah. So
and we were wondering if they would change it like tomorrow. But I'm just going to click it now. But you've only just watched it, so I think it's just listed as episode 6, which is hilarious.
I mean, they generally have the titles there because I always look for it because when I put the discussion threads and so I'd like to update it. But it's so
I missed it the first episode, what the title was, so I've kind of tried to pay attention after that. But yeah, episode 6.
Episode 6. I'm just calling it as well the finale. It is the last of this Moon Knight season, not series, which is
which is weird for me because I don't know how it is on Australia, but in England we use them interchangeably. Like we don't have that weird. So when that happened on Twitter and everything, I was like, I wonder if it was a Brit just writing it, and they didn't. And then somebody's like, "No, quick, take it off," or people get excited. I mean, I do genuinely think we will see Moon Knight again.
It kind of looks that way. As to whether we'll get him in a TV show, I mean, I think we're going to get him in the movies. Yeah.
I think we'll get him somehow. I don't know how, and we will see.
We will certainly see. So before any of that, of course, before we get into the nitty-gritty, a big thank you, of course, to our patronies, every one of you. Thank you so much for keeping the lights on here. It's been so much fun doing this TV show coverage. Bear with us. We've got plenty more. There's chockers full of, there's comics coming up. We've got like
many comics,
Black, White, and Blood, Moon
Black,
Knight,
White, and Blood, the regular one. We're going
Miss Marvel
past
as
issue
well.
12, Miss Marvel team up, Ghost Rider team up,
Ghost Rider. Oh my gosh, there's
Spider-Man
plenty.
2099.
We are living in the thick of it. So a big thank you to Patronies for allowing us to cover it all, with the bells and whistles. Also, big thanks to our principal sponsors, Drew Tombz, Frank the Tank, and Daniel Doing, and of course CLZ Comics and Dreamland Comics. Rebecca, as always, this reaction episode, I mean, we're just going to dive right in. This is we're fresh. You've seen it very recently, Rebecca. I've just seen it. My gosh, and I had to really navigate my way, i.e. turn off social media.
Yeah, bless you all for wanting to tell Ray your thoughts, but unfortunately, because of the way time zone works, he literally gets to watch it. Like I get a few hours between watching it and recording when I'm getting my work out of the way. Ray literally wakes up, watches, and records. And so I was just like, when he said that people were sort of letting him know what they thought, which is great, we love to hear from you. I was just like, shut everything down, Ray. Just go watch.
Exactly.
I'm not going to put any notes on the joint document in case you
Yes.
read it by accident.
Thank you so
Just
much.
get
Yeah.
going, because I was just like, I mean, look, there was nothing. I don't think anything that you would have found out would have ruined it for you.
Yep.
But,
No,
you know,
it would have
like,
been
but
everything that.
it's
Yeah.
you know, like, given that you've managed to see everything else, you know, without being spoiled, it's quite nice to sort of finish the run as you started it.
Yeah, for sure. And that's a good reminder as well, a healthy reminder. So, of course, a reaction episode, this is all spoiler filled. So if you haven't watched the
Yes.
episode,
I've already sent my sensory downstairs.
we're talking about something because, oh, shut the door.
Yeah.
Terrible. Oh, no. But yeah, Rebecca, I mean, without any further ado, and before I forget, let's get into the moon and stars.
I love it.
I
still
love
love it.
I
It's
love
the
it too. It's
best.
so fresh. It's great. I love how we got the shackle in our background as well.
Yeah. Great final poster. I wonder if we'll get another poster actually post episode. I think we might, and I think we know what it might be. So.
Oh yeah. Oh,
well, actually, we might get another couple. So a couple of
could.
character posters. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Ooh.
Yeah.
And I like in your prompt in the prompt sheet as well, Rebecca. You've named. Anyway, we'll get to it.
I have.
New character. That's awesome. That's great. That's great.
I mean, I'm fairly certain that's where they're going, but like,
yeah.
And it's funny because in our notes, like, Ray did this great setup for these reactions, is that we'd look at what was good and what was bad, and I'm finding it hard to sort of differentiate, so I've kind of put things in both because like I like them, but you know, like
you're right. It's hard to know. I guess because the reactions from a lot of fans have been varied. But I mean, this is from our perspective, and we're a bit looser now as to what we think might be bad or might be, you know, good.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting our perspective. We've been on board with other stuff, so you know.
Yeah,
it's nice to acknowledge the sort of where the problems are, but it's a lot harder now because it started off with us saying where it goes away from the comics, and like we're so far away from the comics in certain aspects now that it's kind of hard to still keep judging those as the bad bits, because
that's true
within the context that we're so far away from like the comics, but it's kind of its own thing. So
yeah, that's been kind of laid out already. Yeah, so like the Stephen Grant thing, I mean, as an example as well.
I mean, like there's only so many times we're gonna sort of raise, and as we'll talk about in this episode, I think there's a massive evolution of both he and Mr. Knight.
Yeah. So released May the 4th, directed by
you.
And also with you, Mohammed Diab or Diab, so I'm not sure. Writing credits, Rebecca, I didn't grab it. I was still a little bit stunned.
I didn't grab it either. Sorry.
I
was desperately trying to see if my theory about the cast list was right. And it was. That list next to Oscar Isaac's
yes, that got longer and longer.
Yes.
Yeah. I thought of that when I saw that as well. But yep, sorry again, listeners, we are fresh from watching it, and again, I was stunned, so I didn't take note. I usually take a photo of the credits, but
we will get it right.
We'll get it.
You know, it'll be in the show notes.
It will be in the show notes.
It'll be right by the time the panel gets at it. You know, the more professional panel.
Oh no,
no, because like you know, like we're not aiming for that. We're aiming for getting something out quickly and
exactly.
You know,
just giving really just reactions in the best sense. So Rebecca, I mean, my gosh, this finale had everything. Just a little bit of famework. Mohammed Diab did say in an article that, you know, there will be a lot of action in this one. We'll get to see a lot of Moon Knight, and by Jingo, I think he delivered.
Yeah, definitely. He said he wanted to give people a good big action sequence, and we definitely got that. So I don't know if you want to do it stage by stage, or I mean, it's hard to. Should we start where we left off, actually, with my criticism of the Field of Reeds and
yes, actually,
the separation of Stephen and Mark, because I think they didn't quite tackle that for me. I think I saw somebody at least take away the issue that if you're neurodiverse, you cannot quite make it into heaven or the field of reeds. And I don't think that, I mean, look, I think that's still an issue. Like, is how they portrayed that. I get that they wanted to have Mark go back for them to have been close enough that Mark wanted to go back and leave Stephen, but I still think there's a little bit of a problem there with that. But I loved the speech that Mark gave Stephen.
Oh, it was great.
It was beautiful.
Look, I took it on the more kind of glass half full, surprise approach with that, because I was keen to see how they would deal with it. And you're right, they didn't really tackle it, but the takeaway for me was that Mark himself says to Taweret, look, I'm not going to stay here. Although I'm giving up the field of reeds, I'm not complete without Stephen. So to me, I did like that bit, yeah. So again, I think, and it'd be interesting to hear the likes of Cal and Lena speak.
Obviously,
of it.
Far more interested in what they have to say about it than what I do.
Well, we do as well. But I mean, but I was comforted in the fact that Mark called out that he doesn't feel like it's right. Stephen is very much a part of him. So it still really doesn't. A lot of people as well were talking about, well, how come the scale's balanced? We didn't even address Jake. I mean, there've been hints that he's here.
I mean, the best explanation that I saw of it was that we're thinking about it because we know about Stephen and Jake. It may just be that Mark had to go back and confront what happened to him as a child that made him whole, separate from the DID stuff. So, and that was kind of the best explanation that I saw, is that he went back, he saw it all played out, and he was ready to then move on. Like, he accepted his mom had died and stuff like that. It still gets to me a little bit, but that was an explanation I can at least understand.
So,
and that one at least allows for the not knowing about Jake.
Yes, it does. Yeah, you're right. I mean, if it's just purely focused on that,
it's not balancing his mental health; it's balancing his heart.
Yes,
I guess
that's a good way of putting it. Yeah, I'm
not sure that's how it read to me fully. But I do accept that would be an explanation for not having Jake.
I like that. I like that. That way that you've worded it, Rebecca. Because I mean, it's not necessarily about mental health at all that they're weighing on the scales of Ma'at.
And I think sometimes we're like sidetracked by that being such an important side of the character for us. Is that and it. Like I said, it definitely read that way to me last week. I mean, you heard my reaction to the whole thing. Even this morning was like, but yeah. So that's. But I really did like when Mark said to Stephen, "You saved me. I survived.
Yes,
I know. I knew I wasn't alone."
Yes,
and then calling it his superpower.
I know it was a totally inappropriate time to say it, but I was just, as that was going on, and it was such a great piece of dialogue, I was just waiting for Mark to say, "Mark, come on, just say we are Moon Knight, come on." No, but he said it a lot better, and I love that superpower statement as well. You're my real superpower. That is, I thought that was really awesome, because he acknowledges it. I mean, can you imagine or remember how they got on in the earlier episodes? They were totally cats and dogs.
I mean, like, Mark was like saying, "I'm never going to let you out," kind of get used to the, I don't know if he actually said that, but when he was like, kind of get used to being only able to see me in reflection kind of thing.
Yeah. And now they have this real synergy, which you kind of see, and I guess we'll get to it, they have a lot more control, it seems. Well, Stephen definitely with the Moon Knight.
Fighty now.
Oh my gosh, there was that scene with the sticks, or whatever you call them, battens.
So good, the battens. Yeah.
Oh, that was really good. I don't care. I
really enjoyed that. That was very satisfying to me.
Me too. And I don't care if people will say, "Oh, how did Stephen learn this all of a sudden?" I don't care. It's
it's actually explained in the previous episode. Like, if Mark's done it, he's done it too. It's his body.
Right. What do you mean? Sorry.
Well, when he's on the boat and Stephen gets involved, he's like, if he's done
Oh,
it,
very
I've
good.
also
Yes.
done it.
Mhm.
So, and that, I guess,
Oh,
again, that's that
nice.
realization of like, yeah, he does have it. He's just,
He's got the it's in the muscles, and
it's in the muscle, and he's physically been there when it happened. It's just he doesn't remember it, but like,
that's very cool. So in a very like accelerated way, but in a good way, we get Stephen now up to speed and being a pretty cool Mr. Knight. I mean, there's that scene as well. I know we're jumping ahead a bit, but there's a scene where he tackles Harrow in the laundromat or something, and then he does almost that James Bond, Daniel Craig-esque kind of. He kind of straightens his suit and gets.
I was listening it to with friends, and we agreed it was very hot.
Yeah, it was so cool.
It's very hot, Stephen. I'm sure you'll be able to get some dates if you just let people see your photo.
And Dylan does not know what she's missing, so
no, she doesn't deserve him.
But
she didn't like him as Stephen with a V.
She
doesn't get him as Mr. Knight.
But I mean, going back, I guess we are to kind of try and cover things as they happen. I was genuinely surprised, I guess, to see us back all of a sudden in Amit's tomb and back into that Indiana Jones-esque with Harrow and the dead Mark but that was good.
That was interesting. I mean, like Harrow leaving the scarab behind, dumb move. But
my gosh, that was silly, wasn't it?
That was silly.
So
just had to make a villain monologue. Just had to do it. It never turns out well.
No, he gets his just desserts towards the end, but it was interesting. It was a good way to see Layla again. She gets cornered. Well, she's the one that actually releases KHONSHU from the Ushabti once Amit is released. I thought Mark had given that to Layla but I obviously was wrong.
The Ushabti.
Yeah, for Amit. I thought
I think Harrow shot him and got it.
Okay.
Did he? No, I don't think.
Well, Harrow took it in this episode, but
anyway, I mean, at least she can track him through the scarab.
Which is such a silly thing. It's just like, leave leave my coordinates about and just follow me. But yeah, so Layla also gets a little bit of a scene. She releases KHONSHU, and he kind of, we know later on that's not true, but he kind of tries to get her to be an avatar.
He says he needs an avatar, and like she'll do.
Like, and so she goes, no, I'm not gonna. I don't want to be enslaved. Let's work together. So I like that aspect, because it'd be foolish to have her fall for the same kind of trick from KHONSHU.
Yeah, but also she wants something from KHONSHU, which is to get Mark back. So so she has the if she does that, I mean, plus she's already been, they all want her as her avatar. Why wouldn't they?
Yeah, but I mean, as in writing goes, it'd be silly if they just said, let's make her the avatar.
But I mean, they could have, but then why would he have resurrected Mark?
Yeah,
I mean,
Mark's
exactly. Cool. I mean, because Mark's cooler and has more skills, but Layla's pretty cool. Is Mark cooler? Yeah, I don't want to get involved in that, but we'd been sad if we lost Mark fully.
I mean, and gosh, speaking of Layla, how I thought she looked absolutely kick-ass. She struck a hero pose the first time. So I'm jumping a bit. So there's actually a scene.
We're talking about Layla and Avatar, so why not? That is the next thing.
But she did such a good job as well, going between Taweret and Layla. So she's in that. Yeah, how cool is that? And I'm thinking,
was so good.
I was thinking, everyone's talking about Oscar Isaac's performance. I thought that was pretty damn good.
That was really good. I mean, Oscar has more to do.
Yes.
But that was very, very good. I mean, she was perfect.
Yeah, she had it seemed the mannerisms and the even the facial expressions, comparing her with a hippo face, but she had that funny, like the smile, that really kind of joyful smile. So anyway, she eventually becomes an avatar as well. Of Taweret as well. And
although despite that, her costume is clearly scarab based.
Okay, so it is scarab based. I saw
it had a big scarab there.
Yeah,
and I'm guessing
she's got wings.
Yeah, okay. Beetles fly.
Beetles, but it looked like more bird-like.
Whereas hippos do not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
I know, but it's an interpretation. But I would
Yeah.
guess that Toweret gave her pockets, so it's automatically a fantastic superhero costume.
It
It's
is
lovely.
a
And we
black.
have to
Yeah.
remember she says temporary. Now, whether she
Yes.
decides to stay as that, I don't know. But for all the people getting their knickers in a twist about it, you know,
I'd
she
love to
did
see
say
it.
temporary. I
I'd
would
love to
love
see
to see
it
her
as
go
a
off and do her own thing as my name, Scarlet Scarab.
yeah.
It kind of has to be, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
It
I
has to
think
be.
it was a nice little indulgent thing, I think, from Diab, but I cheered myself when the little girl
I loved
said
it. It was
"Are you an
ridiculously,
Egyptian?"
yeah, it was ridiculously, but I
on the
loved it.
nose.
I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
loved it
She's "Are you an Egyptian superhero?" Yeah.
because she doesn't have a mask on. So,
No.
and like, that is pretty cool. This is a world of Avengers, and they
She,
haven't seen any that aren't sort of
yeah,
American, except for Black Panther, I guess.
so cool. Shielding the bullets, ripping the car door off,
I guess,
stopping the
yeah,
car. Oh no,
yeah.
I'm just saying that it's
No, I was
brilliant.
trying. I was
Yeah.
gonna say Doctor Strange is British, but he's not. Just
Oh.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Trying to be American.
Yeah, sorry.
So yeah, we get the Scarlet Scarab. Let's call her that. And they all at the same time as well. There's along the line she kind of gets a dying Osiris, and I'm going to put this in the pointy end. We'll get to that later about the Ennead. I thought that was potentially a pointy end, but we get Osiris there telling her that she has to entomb Amit in the chamber, but with a mortal.
Yeah, so
yeah.
I guess if you put them into an Ashabti, then that's one thing. But if you actually want to kill them, you need to put them in a mortal because, I mean, that's the standard sort of mythological kind of thing, isn't it? It's like because mortals die.
Exactly. Kill the mortal, you kill the person, the deity within as well. And we really did get a war of the gods, I think, Rebecca. I love the shots of giant Amit and giant KHONSHU just fighting.
Yeah, kaiju, Egyptian kaiju, as we call it.
But it's...
It was great, and I think if that's what the CGI budget was kept for, then look, I'm sure people are going to come back and have picky issues with some of the CGI. But I actually thought it worked really well. I thought Amit was better than I expected her to be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there was
and when she grew, and it was just nice. I mean,
yeah, I think you're right. I think this is where the money went for the CGI because in the previous episodes I've stated my slight quibbles for the slightly dodgy CGI. Over here, I think KHONSHU and Amit looked pretty good. I mean, throughout. There's a scene also with KHONSHU with the setting sun, and he's just looking over the planet, like the horizon.
Yeah.
And he looks like he's standing there. I mean, the lighting, the shadows, it looks so good. And then he starts talking to Stephen and Mark, Moon Knight. That was a bit of a weird transition, I thought. You know how they just walked out of the tomb? There was it like a mid-fight?
I mean, I found the flying very awkward as well. I'm not gonna lie. Like the shot against the moon was fantastic, but the flying was a little bit.
That's not gliding. That is full on flying.
That was full
propulsion.
on flying.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Like he needed to get to where the fight was. That's fine, but it was a little bit like okay.
Well, I mean, that was the thing. Well, the way I'm going to justify it is because KHONSHU said, "Look, I am the master of the night," or whatever. So
Master of the sky,
the sky. Whatever, so maybe he kind of gave that little bit of a superpower to Moon Knight,
like a dart.
Exactly. Hold on. But so we do see, I think, Moon Knight / Mr. Knight for a large portion of this.
We see him for a good chunk of the fights, yeah. Like we get to see, I quite like the fight. I mean, there's no real need perhaps for them to switch between one and the other, but I appreciated it, especially as it showed that kind of evolution of Mr. Knight. He was only a tiny bit quippy, definitely more violent, definitely had the fighting in control. Great fight moves. I mean, that was some of the most athletic fights we've seen. Layla helped, but she wasn't like, oh, he would have died without her kind of help. I mean, there was like she did step in a lot, so she had a lot to do. But I like that he actually got a good chunk of the fight.
Yes. Just speaking of Layla as well, and again, I am quibbling, but this by no means sways me in any way, in any negative way. One thing that kind of got me was Layla gets pinned with a crescent dart against the van or whatever, and she's looking in horror as Harrow is attacking Mark on the ground. After all is said and done, and Jake comes out and kind of dispenses with Harrow, Layla just like nonchalantly she takes the crescent dart off. It's like, couldn't you just take that crescent dart off straight away then? Like, you weren't really pinned if you could easily take it off. But anyway, there was a lot of great fights, as you're saying. Mr. Knight, Layla, they took on Harrow by himself, and that was a great fight. I mean, I think they worked well as a team. And as we've already mentioned before, Mark / Stephen jumped.
I mean, I felt a little bit bad that Harrow didn't get a superhero outfit if all the avatars are getting dressed up.
He got a better staff.
Right. So I have to tell you the funniest thing that happened while I was watching it. So when the staff got his little crocodile head, and the axe back, I actually said chomp chomp. And then friend I was watching with, was like going, "Oh, it's almost a shame we didn't have Stephen around to see his reaction to that." And I was like, I just gave you a genuine like British dorky response to it. I just went chomp chomp. So if anybody wants to know if Brits would do that, I definitely would. Like, so I'm in Stephen's category there.
A missed opportunity there for Stephen.
I did like the upgraded cane. Very cool.
Yeah, and the upgraded power as well. There was a nice little moment where Ethan Hawke got to, show a bit more acting chops as well. He and Ahmet as well, and he's saying that he will willfully submit to anything.
Yeah, he was like up for dying. He was like, "No, I'm not in balance. I'm, kill me." Yeah. And she was like, "Nope, you can conserve me." Yeah. And you're not in balance because of what you're going to do, which was interesting.
Yeah, but I mean it shows the sign again. It just shows another side of the villain, like how he truly believes what he, this cause, and
he's definitely a religious zealot.
So really good props there to Ethan for Ethan Hawke for that acting over there. I'm just trying to go through my head there, Rebecca, of what happened with the fight. Oh, actually, it was really cool as well. We first see after they leave Ahmet's tomb, the Egyptian military or police, and then Taweret it was
speaking through the dead bodies,
possessing the dead bodies, and and actually going back as well. I mean, we didn't really, I guess, linger on the resurrection of Mark, which I thought was really cool. Taweret actually, she said Osiris, the big softy, so he left the gates open for them to walk through. Well, he opened them, sorry, for them. But Taweret also, I guess, did she kind of cut a swathe through the sandstorm or something for them, or she kind of held back the sandstorm that was coming?
I think she put the barge between the sandstorm and them. I think that's what it was implying, but that she's kind of sailed so they'd be protected from it a little bit longer.
Yeah. So I mean, it truly is a war of the gods. I mean, she's doing more, and Osiris as well, doing more than they should. Right? They're meddling. They're starting to meddle in the affairs because they don't want Ahmet to be, I guess, to come into the world.
Yeah, I mean, we've kind of established the other gods don't want it to happen. It's just,
well, we thought Osiris had some sort of hidden agenda.
Yeah, he didn't seem to. He was just
he was just your
average.
Around.
I was about to swear that he was just,
But
it does make it funny. They genuinely did not believe Mark that that's what Harrow was going to do.
I know, which is a bit. Oh my gosh, it's
maybe because they had a previous relationship with Harrow from him being KHONSHU's avatar.
Yeah, or maybe they're not omnipotent. They just, they are.
I mean, they're gods. They're just.
True.
They should perhaps know a little bit more. I'm disappointed we didn't get any like Ra or Anubis.
Well, I'm little.
She could have smashed the wrong Ashabti by mistake and gone, "Oops, sorry."
Oh, that would have been cool. Like,
funny. But it might have changed the power differentials of the fight. So
yeah.
Maybe if they had more than 44 minutes, eh?
Yeah, I know. It did go. I mean, I might as well just say it now. For me, pointy end. I mean, no, I still really enjoyed the show, but I guess how quickly things went, I think might be a potential pointy end. Like
it's kind of been like that throughout. Is that
it has
so much packed into each episode that. But yeah, I agree. I would have liked to see more of that. The sort of God side of thing.
There's they built it up to an Ennead fight in the Pyramid of Giza. Harrow and his henchmen come through. Then you see Osiris do a swirly whirly thing, and then it cuts away, and then we don't see it. But having said that, we do still see a lot of action with KHONSHU and Amit and Mark Moon Knight and Harrow. So it's not like we're caught short on action.
No.
Yeah. But that was, I thought, I would have loved to have seen that a bit more play out. So that was, potentially a bit of a pointy end. If we're going back to the fight with Moon Knight and Harrow and the Scarlet Scarab, again, I'm going to pick out a potential pointy end here.
Yep,
Rebecca. The Harrow, again, the blackout, which I've loved previously, but, this being the big bad in Harrow, it's kind of, we've kind of missed it. Like it's happened, like he's been beaten. I would have loved to have seen him. But having said that
I did like that. Mark's first thing was that definitely wasn't you, Stephen, was it? And he was like, no. So there wasn't like the last time we saw it happen, they both blamed each other.
Yeah.
So this was that kind of. I agree with you. I mean, like. I'm trying to balance it between seeing it all over, like with the bloodshed, or actually having watched it, and if we'd have found more to find clunky in that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a smart way to finish it. I kind of agree and disagree. I don't really know, on that. It didn't bother me, but I can see it being a sticking point. But again, time wise, I think I'd rather see that and the fight over. And that reaction from Mark, than them actually doing the violence.
Yeah, and you're right, and because they do pay off that kind of scene with Mark going, "That wasn't you, was it, Stephen? It wasn't me." And we've had those little tidbits thrown in throughout the season, but we do get a little payoff towards the end in the post-credit scene. So I don't know. I mean, it just stood out for me. It didn't really bother me as well. It was just kind of like, oh, okay. Oh, yeah. This is, for me, it felt like it was clearly because of maybe a time constraint on their behalf. But having said that, the action was great. And we get a use for Harrow. Like, he's not dead. I thought at first that the axe was wedged in his forehead.
I thought it was as well, but you didn't actually see it. I thought it was just resting against his forehead. So.
Yeah, I mean, and he clearly wasn't dead. It seems. So they have plans to use Harrow, surprise, surprise, as the mortal vessel for Amit. But KHONSHU's idea is to obviously kill both them. I just wanted to go back as well, Rebecca. I mean, sorry to jump back and forth. We did talk about the giant Amit and KHONSHU. The initial fight between KHONSHU and Amit I thought was really cool as well. In the chamber.
That was good.
Yeah, some really cool. He's got a bit of guile. He does that kind of feisty. Yeah. He does the teleporting thing. Yeah. He's got his kick-ass scythe or whatever it is. It's the moon thing. So KHONSHU wants obviously Harrow done, but Mark and with Layla's advice as well decides not to, because he'll be just too much like Amit.
They have a discussion about free will and I think KHONSHU's saying vengeance is the only choice, and it's like, no, it's not. And so so he doesn't kill him.
Yep. And we forgot to mention, but it comes to light here. Then Mark says to KHONSHU, okay, make good your deal, because they did during that setting sun discuss. We've
Stephen decided to have a negotiation.
KHONSHU's going, what, we're doing this now?
Which is good because he's clearly the one better able to do this than Mark. There's a good purpose for Stephen there as well.
Yep. So very timely.
Feels no fear. He's just going to go up against a god and say,
exactly. What has he got to lose?
What you have to do, yeah.
He survived a damn duat, so he's good. But he negotiates to be free of the shackles of KHONSHU after all is said and done. And after they get Harrow, but Mark refuses to kill him. He's done the work. We've got Amit. We've entombed her. Okay, now let me free. So KHONSHU has to go with it, and he frees Mark. And then again, it goes a bit weird. Now, Rebecca.
Yeah, we go back to presumably Putnam Psychiatric Ward.
Mm-hmm.
And in Harrow's office, and they're switching again between Mark and Stephen, like sentence to sentence. But we see blood from Harrow's shoe.
That just threw me as well.
Presumably the glass.
What did you make of this?
I don't know what to make of this scene. I'm very interested to hear what theories people come out of it. But I did like when they're talking about it, that Mark says, "No, we'd rather go save the world." Like when he's saying, "Oh, you could stay here." So I just that just seemed like maybe that was Harrow's mindscape. Maybe that was,
I don't know. It's definitely a mindscape, right? But I don't understand how Harrow has got the blood in there. What that means in Mark's mind,
It's all very cool, but I don't really understand it, and I'm sure people come up with fantastic theories. So please do. But I did like that. No, we're gonna get, because it kind of the acceptance that he's also gonna keep the Moon Knight and go and use it for good.
And also Rebecca as well. I mean, forgot when he tells KHONSHU, "Okay, we've done the pact. Now do your deal, do your part of the deal." To me, I was like, yes. So right, so KHONSHU is leaving, and so Mark and Stephen have lost that healing armor.
Presumably, yeah. Presumably.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because KHONSHU said, I'm not gonna meddle. You're free to go. You're free. But
I don't trust
for me,
him,
but
we'll come back to that post credits. We'll come back to that.
But I guess where I'm going at with that is, with that coupled with what you were saying about Mark saying, "No, we're going to keep on doing this," is that, to me, it alludes to we're going to continue being Moon Knight, but not necessarily the Moon Knight that we've seen.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, whether they call themselves that or not.
Yeah.
So, interesting. Very interesting. And then they wake. Yes, that was the mindscape. Then they wake up and they're back at Stephen's flat.
Oh my gosh!
With two goldfish.
Yep.
Ankle strapped to the bed, though. Still.
Yes, and hence the poster. So that was a little funny thing to make light of at the end, because he's relieved, and it's like, oh gosh, everything seems to be in balance now. But he trips up, of course, again.
Yeah. We don't know where Layla is. She's not in bed with
No.
Mark.
Again, Rebecca. So what does this mean? Because it couldn't be a reaction without.
It couldn't be a reaction without Ozzy.
And for those listeners that you may not be aware of, there is a video running.
Just walked past.
A cat walked past. So the video will be available for Patronies there. So again, we're back to reality, right?
As far as we know, but there's no. I mean, look, Layla. I mean, no, because Layla would be with him, right? She's married to him still.
And then what I'm thinking of is, in the post-credit scene, is that's reality as well. So how did Harrow end up in a psychiatric ward?
In the Sienkiewicz Psychiatric Hospital.
Oh, I didn't catch that. Really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But he's got the long hair, so it's not like Dr. Harrow, which was in the Mindscape.
It's another look for him.
That's another Harrow.
But let's talk about the post-credit scene, because again, I've put this under good, but
yep.
There's some interesting bad in there, or interesting weirdness in there. Right, so we cut to Harrow in the asylum.
Yes.
He looks different. We get the caption, "Man speaking Spanish."
Yeah.
So we know what's going to happen then. There's people dead all around.
Mm-hmm.
And Jake comes to get Harrow, puts him in the limo, with KHONSHU wearing his suit. That's definite thumbs up.
Very cool.
Jake's wearing his cap, but doesn't have a.
That's so cool. Doesn't have the moustache, but I'm happy with the cap. I'm happy with that.
I was very happy with the cap.
Yeah.
And then KHONSHU says something like, "What,
whatever made you think
done with us? Yeah, what made you think done with us?"
Yeah.
And then taps on the window. Jake comes in, shoots Harrow.
Yeah, this is my avatar.
And they drive off, and they make some comment like, "Oh, hi, I thought you'd be finished with us." So like. I was really surprised. Oh, like he says, meet Jake Lockley.
Yes,
I was really surprised, given that he's Spanish or Spanish speaking, Hispanic. I'm going to assume Hispanic. That they kept the name Jake Lockley.
I know that's a bit weird. I thought exactly the same thing.
I'm glad because I love having the name Jake Lockley, and maybe that's his limo driver name, right? And then the limo has Spectre number plate. So who has all the money? Is it Jake?
Yeah.
Like who's bankrolling this operation?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
is Jake going to be our rich one?
Yeah. I mean, well, Spectre as well is a direct call out to the 2014 Ellis run for the limo. That limo as well is really cool. But
I'm now like fascinated about where's the money? What's it coming from? Has it come from Jake doing hit? I mean, I have slight reservations from Jake. I still think they didn't necessarily portray Jake as the super violent one. I mean, he clearly is, but he's more the one who will get the job done. But it's definitely a B-miss run change to Jake to make him the really hyper aggressive one.
Isn't it?
Which I'm still not entirely. Like, I do think they got away from making him an evil alter.
Oh yeah.
Like, I think he definitely came across as more violent.
Yeah,
more likely to get the job done, but like he didn't like have this whole speech like bad mouthing anyone or anything. Like it was literally more like he is the one who can finish the job.
Yeah.
Now whether you class that as evil or not is the thing, but I don't personally. It didn't sit with me as evil alter trope. Okay. But I think it may veer that way for some people.
I think, well, in my eyes, I think it kind of veers towards that, and that would. From the DRD stance, be problematic.
I think that's the depiction we wanted to get away from. So I'm not really sure where I stand. I enjoyed the final scene. I enjoyed seeing it. I don't know where it leaves the series, but we're very much going with neither of the others really know Jake. They've clearly guessed that there is another alter who is capable of doing these things, and I guess we don't know enough about Jake to know any more about him than that, except he's Spanish speaking.
Yeah, apart from the post-credit
scene, which makes sense when you've got Oscar Isaac cast.
Yeah, of course.
And you've got an American. Like, it would be better than seeing him do another accent.
Okay, yeah.
In a way. I mean, it'd be nice to have an Australian for you, Ray, but penal colony,
all that stuff. How you going? But it actually dispels as well. There was a lot of conjecture about or kind of theorizing about Jake in the previous episode. The accents definitely changed when he grabs that crystal pyramid, and they were thinking that was Jake. I've gotten some sources tell me that from the director Diab, he kind of quickly confirmed that it was. And I've heard others say that Jeremy Slater said no, that wasn't as well. So I guess we'll never know. In this instance, with the post-credit scene, Jake seems to at least be multilingual. Maybe that's maybe he does speak English.
Maybe that's why Stephen found learning French so easy.
Yeah.
He already just knew some Spanish. They're both Romance languages. Before anyone has a go at me about them being different languages, there are lots of similarities.
Yes. No, for sure. Yeah. But I mean, you do get three disparate characters here. I mean, with Mark being very much the identities, with Mark being very much the middle ground here. So although it is problematic as well, and as you said, most recently in the Bemis run, it has been shown that Jake has totally been a bit of a loose cannon. That what we're getting is like a similar depiction of at least the modern Jake Lockley.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
it does have roots in some of the comics, so it's not my favorite depiction of him, but then Steven's so different as well that it doesn't surprise me that Jake's different to amount for that. I'm still fascinated by the cash. I'm like, I don't know why I'm fixated on that, but like, I'm just fascinated by it. Like, they're sitting on a gold mine somewhere. Like,
well, I'm thinking it's more similar to what Layla was saying with was it Ligaro? Maybe Mark is doing similar to Layla, helping return artifacts, but keeping a few on the side. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, he's good. He's who knows? Maybe he's producing films. Who knows?
But yeah, so Jake, it was great to see him finally. Because I think a few people.
I was really upset. I would have liked a moustache.
Yeah,
If Harrow can have one, I think we could have had Jake.
You can have the old soup strainer. Surely Jake can as well. But I think a few people guessed that he would turn up in the post-credit scene because there was just so much to fit in. As we said, everything was kind of really gone through. I mean, there was so much in it. There was just a point I was having about Jake. I couldn't remember what my point was, but anyway. Just with the Bemis. Correct me if I'm wrong, Rebecca, as well, but was it in the Bemis as well, where apparently I think Jake Lockley and Moon Knight, the identities are more like Jake Lockley is more closer to Moon Knight than Mark and Steven.
I remember that way, I think.
Yeah, but I remember reading that in one of the I think it was the Bemis run, where they kind of say that where Moon Knight really is just Jake Lockley in a mask. So if that's the case, then that's pretty cool. They're going that way. That Jake is now the Avatar and he is Moon Knight. And whether or not I don't know how it plays out. I still kind of want to get that street clothes Moon Knight and Steven.
I do as well. I mean, I still do. I still have high hopes for it, but we don't know because there's no sign of him being anywhere else just yet.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, we have touched upon some of it, some of the pointy ends, Rebecca. So we mentioned, there's with Jake, as we just mentioned, short kind of fight scenes or truncated with the Ennead and Harrow up against what eventually is Jake. You had a couple other ones here, Rebecca, as potential pointy ends.
Some people are not going to like Layla in a costume. They're not. I heard somebody complain about not everyone needs superhero powers, and that's true. But like within the context of her taking on this avatar ship of Taweret, I thought it made sense at least. Like I think there are sometimes like I don't think say Ned in. Sorry if we're gonna spoil anything about No Way Home, but I think Ned's in No Way Home really annoyed me. But this didn't. I mean, and it didn't annoy me. This one didn't annoy me just because it's Layla and Moon Knight. It's just like it made sense within the context, and she looked kick-ass. And I like. But some people are genuinely not going to like it for that. Some people are not going to like it because Moon Knight needed help. Needed help.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I put. I'm presuming these will be complaints, which is why they weren't complaints for me. And that some people have issues with the new powers with the flight, and again I think they were very circumstantial and one episode. So yeah, there was no really bad side for me on those either.
Yeah, I mean, as mentioned, I think I can justify it in my head about that. The flight powers, maybe it's just KHONSHU saying that I can do this for you to get you over there quickly. Who's to say that Moon Knight will have that? But again, like he's got some pretty awesome, almost immortal powers. So I wouldn't put it past this iteration of Moon Knight having that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Well, Layla, I just got to call out the costume as well, Rebecca. Layla's the Scarlet Scarab costume, awesome. Absolutely brilliant. So, to all those involved in that,
I absolutely gobsmacked at how good it was.
I'd love to see the the other concepts and how it developed, because I think it just looked really good. I think May Kalamaui wore it really well. She looked like a superhero. Everything just fit like her hairstyle as well, and it was fantastic. So, full credit to that. with the thing about her being a super, like as you said, temporary, like she put that into the terms and conditions with Tower as well.
Yeah, and if she comes back and she fight, I have no issue with it not being temporary. No. Presumably, though, there'll be more context for it. But like, I have no problem with it. I thought she looked great. I think she deserved it. I just know people are going to complain because
they will.
They complain about any woman getting to do almost anything. So and you're allowed to complain without being sexist, but there'll be a hell of a lot of people who are sexist complaining.
Yeah.
So I just I'm not saying that anyone who complains. You know what I mean.
Exactly. No, totally. Another thing I just thought of, Rebecca, pointy end, maybe the absence of again. Maybe this was pure rumor, but there was that the rumor that there was someone in their late 30s, French descent, had to have comic timing. Who was that? We all thought it was going to be Frenchie. We didn't see Frenchie. Look, we got him at least.
Maybe it was Mogart. Maybe that was Gaspard Ulliel because he is French descent. And
you're right. Okay, I mean, that's the only one I can think of.
The only one I can think of. Yeah, like so.
It wasn't really comedic, but like he. Yeah, it wasn't.
No,
but like,
maybe things changed. I'm a bit sad about lack of Frenchie, but I can see why they didn't want to introduce someone else. But it would have been nice to see him in the asylum or something.
Yeah. Look, I just think you heard it from us listeners, Rebecca and I. We don't know what's happening towards the end. I love the ambiguity of the ending, just because you just. The bloodied feet of Harrow in the mindscape, then back at Stephen's apartment. Like, so is that all? Was this all a dream, or what's going on?
I mean, there's two goldfish. You don't know. They know it. Like Stephen and Mark are like talk to one another.
Yeah.
But we got so little of it. We don't really know. I mean, Layla could have just popped out for breakfast. We literally. I like that we have no idea. I like that we have no idea. It leaves it very ambiguous and open. I given how little time they had in terms of the episode's time. Like, I'm not really sure. To me, it was I think they ended everything as well as I could expected. Like, given that there's things we all want to see. Both me and Ray are wearing Moon Knight tops today. I just noticed. We're both representing.
Well, it's a big moment. The finale.
Big occasion, yeah. We both stepped up to the mark.
But also as well, maybe Stephen, blacked out with his episodes with Jake. Maybe that's I don't know. But I also thought as well, Rebecca, that should there, and let's fingers crossed there isn't, should this be the only season for Moon Knight? I think it's a pretty neat kind of closure to the season. Again, if you dispel the post-credit scene, that just ending with Stephen in his apartment, and then kind of cyclical going back to him just falling out of the bed. It's a nice little way to end it. I think it rounds it out pretty well. But as you say, keep it open.
I mean, it'd be nice to see him again, but I think whether it needs to be a season or in films, like I don't know how he'd get pulled into things, but he said we want to go save the world. So there's ways and means of getting involved. Who knows? I like not knowing, because one of the big criticisms people have had is like, everything always counts on the end credit scene. The end credit scene is always just an advert for what's next. Or something stupid like Rogers the Musical, which I loved. Everyone else hated. I loved it. I like that we had a season that doesn't. That's it. Like, if that's it, like, obviously with the pretext that we would love more Moon Knight. But if that's it, that's it. Like, it's not like Moon Knight will appear again in Blade the movie in 2025. I know we want it. I know
I will. Yeah, I'll admit I was, after that post-credit scene, I watched the rest of the credits, waiting for like a Moon Knight will return or something.
Yeah, so did I. But it's kind of nice because these are all been criticisms of the MCU, and like look, obviously we all want to know that, but I like that it doesn't have it. It's a different, it's a standout point rather than anything else. Like, they might announce it next week. Who knows? It's like
look, I think I have seen a very varied bunch of responses to the show, but I think overall the show has done exceptionally well. It has received well, considering it's like a DC list character. Like a lot of people don't know about Moon Knight at all, other than maybe the name and him being part of Marvel. So to have a completely unknown character capture the attention of the audience, let alone like casual MCU viewers.
I don't know about you, but like the number of people that have asked me about Moon Knight, where they should read it, and it's got people excited about a character they didn't know about, which is that's its job,
Yeah, exactly. To be to let you in on something, Rebecca, as well. I was pleasantly surprised. I was actually I'm torn. One night, I think I was taking care of Finn, just putting him to bed and stuff, and I got a text from Eve because she was just in the next room, and she was telling me, like, she was watching episode 3, and usually we watch it together. So I was kind of thinking, oh, she's gone and watched it without me. But at the same time, this is someone that doesn't watch comic books, and she thought, oh, I might as well give it a, And so she was telling me, like, she was just joking about KHONSHU going TikTok, TikTok, TikTok.
That's how she asked for dinner now. On, TikTok,
exactly. But she, so she went on and watched this show that she probably never would have.
And we had I had said to George the other day, do you want to watch some Moon Knight? And we just sat and watched like 4 episodes straight.
It's
couldn't quite get to 5. I was too tired, but
that would be. Yeah, I think end of episode 4 is a pretty good way to end on it anyway. But having said that, I think there are definite bones for future season if Oscar is up for it as well. I'm sure the MCU, I'm sure Disney and Marvel would like to, because I think it has been a lot has been a success in many ways. So. I guess we cap things off, Rebecca, before we do a rating, I just want to get your thoughts on where do you we're going to rate 5 and 6 now, because we left 5 because we wanted some kind of resolution to some of the things up in the air. But where do you, and this is really hard because you've mentioned that it is difficult, but where do you want to see Moon Knight next? I mean, what have we got coming up? We've got Multiverse of Madness. We've got Love and Thunder. Ant-Man, Werewolf by Night. Yep. Okay. Yep. Yeah, that's probably a sensible
I think I'm going to stick Supernatural with him. If they have time, but I think we're more like to see Blade in Werewolf by Night now.
Mm-hmm.
I think they might rest Moon Knight for a little while. I think, like, given what we know about Oscar not being signed up for anything else and wanting to, I know he said before he wanted to see if people watched it first.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they have to come up with something compelling enough to include him, and it's not just going to be him stepping in to help in a Thanos type fight.
It is difficult, isn't it? Because it seems like the big thing, apart from the multiverse, of course, is I'm just thinking of the Eternals, and there seems to be a lot of cosmic things happening, and I can't see how Moon Knight would really fit into that.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Like, I want wherever he shows up, it to be a sensible place for him to show up, and it not just be, oh, look who's here, this dude in white. I love the final suit up, by the way. Like when he resurrected him.
Yes.
Like how, that was really good.
That was really cool as well. Yeah, I don't know. I think as well, because I've got still so many questions of, like, if Jake now is the avatar of KHONSHU, what does that mean for Mark and Steven? Because they are the one person. So what happens? Like,
where are they? I mean, like, what does it mean?
You can't have.
Is the flat part of a mind? Is that Steven's mindscape?
Oh gosh, yeah.
Like,
I mean,
so the asylum Mark's mindscape and the flat Steven's mindscape.
Oh,
I don't know.
But
off the top of my head, random. I'm going back to Chomp as my comment.
But just that. I mean, because we can't have you can't have Moon Knight without Mark and Steven now in the TV show. So
to us, but it's going to be really interesting. I mean, maybe he turns up as an absolute as Jake in something. I still want the cab driver.
Avengers Public Enemy #1. Wow, that'd be pretty cool. They hated the Hulk. They got rid of the Hulk. Now that they've got Moon Knight to contend with. Anyway, so my gosh, fantastic. It's. I think we've covered everything, Rebecca, unless
I think we've covered everything we're going to be able to cover right now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I really look forward to how your panel is going to.
Oh, me too as well. And look, I gave it some thought as well. And I should have mentioned this earlier in the show, but yeah, so unfortunately, due to, COVID around here.
We can name it. We can name the big bad.
Exactly. No spoilers.
No spoilers. There's this little pandemic going around.
Yeah. But we missed the panel discussion for episode 5. I'm sorry, that was I dropped the ball on that. Wasn't able to.
No, you didn't. You had family sickness, and that's why.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely true. Of course, family first, health first. But I still want to pick up that as well. I still would love to have a discussion with episode 5. So, Rebecca, you did mention let's split it up and delay it and stuff. Look, I
think so. Yeah, but up to you.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking that initially, but after seeing
they do go quite well together, though.
Yeah, I mean, after seeing episode 6, like I wouldn't want to torture some of the Loonies in the episode 5 panel, like just
not
stick
being
to
able
episode
to talk about 6. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, that is the problem.
So we might. I mean, I'll give it some more thought, but it looks like we might be heading towards a combined finale showstopper panel for the end of the Moon Knight season. So keep your eyes out for that on the social media pages. Also, another little shout out to Loony Olivia. I wanted to, like, her knowledge. She's Egyptian, and she has put a hand up to talk about a lot of the Egyptian culture and stuff. She's learning about Moon Knight as well. I'd love to ask her about, like, Olivia, I'm just asking you now, I guess, about the scales of Ma'at as well, because I really love that thing that we said, Rebecca, about how we kind of get caught up on the mental side of Mark Spector, but the scales may not necessarily be so. So I'd love to understand, because that seemed like a very accurate thing, like the scales of Ma'at, what that really does weigh. Is that like the soul or the heart, as Rebecca says? I think that would be a really good discussion to be had. But Rebecca,
I know.
Marks.
We're back soon. Don't worry. Oh,
Mark,
yeah.
Well, yeah.
What did you give it? I gave it a 9 because I saw you gave it a 9.
Yeah, I gave it a 9 as well.
No, I think it's 9 for me. It's like I can see there's some issues. I wish it had been a bit longer. I'm kind of glad it wasn't, because I think they might have stumbled on some of the exposition they needed if it was longer. So it's a solid 9 for me.
Look, I'm cheating a little, Rebecca. I've cast it as 9, but I have episodes 5 and 6 in my mind, because the questions we had for episode 5, we didn't give it a mark last time, but coupled with this episode 6 finale, to have them hand in hand, to have that origin story of Mark and Steven, and then to have it with this amazing showdown at the end with gods fighting 100 feet in the air. It was just fantastic. There were, as we mentioned, there were little bits here and there, but I mean, this show has deviated, as you say, Rebecca, so much from the comics that this is a thing of itself.
It's its own thing now, and I like this Moon Knight. It's a different Moon Knight, but I like it. I'm on board.
I like it. So Rebecca and Ray, the High Priest, we've given it 9 out of 10. Loony listeners, would love to hear your thoughts as well. We've got a discussion thread on all the social media pages. As mentioned, we'll be doing a panel discussion, and most likely, it seems, it will be on episodes 5 and 6, because we missed 5.
Send in your feedback for both.
Absolutely, send in your feedback. We'll try. Maybe we'll do an extra long. I mean, it would have to be an extra long discussion. We do have the guests before. Mario, Daniel, and Chad will be with us for sure, but there will be a whole heap of others who have tagged themselves for episode 6. So you'll hear familiar voices, the likes of Drew, I'm sure maybe Noel, possibly Russell as well, but also ones that we haven't heard from a while, like Anthony Sitko, who's a huge Moon Knight fan.
Yeah, that would be great.
Capes on the Couch. So check it all out. It's what a way to cap it off. And of course, final shout out to those excellent fellas over at TV Podcast Industries.
Yes. Good luck
fantastic.
with all the pulling this one apart.
Oh yeah. I'd listened recently to the episode 5. It was
So
really good. They really broke it down so well. Episode 6, my gosh, it's a bit of a quickie. But there's so much in there as well. So I can't wait to hear what Derek, John, and Chris have to say. Good to hear Chris back from his short break over I think in Portugal. So that was oh man, I'm jealous, Chris. I'm jealous.
You're always traveling.
I'm jealous of you as well, Rebecca. You're like you got countries all around you. You know, you can just travel here and there.
Not for a while. Haven't for a while. So
so check them out. Links in the show notes for them. So as mentioned, episode 284 will be a combined panel. So go just confirming the guests. It's going to be huge. Rebecca would love you on there, of course, as well. But we'll see how we go.
I'll probably be asleep, but we've got comics coming up to talk about.
Yeah,
you'll see plenty of me, don't worry.
Yes, plenty of comics too. But so check it all out. As mentioned, a big thank you, Loonies. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sticking with us. There are a whole heap of reviews and discussions on this TV show series on MCU stuff. Thank you for there are, but thank you so much for choosing to listen to us as well. Hopefully we've provided something a little different, a little bit fun and informal. But thank you so much, and a huge thank you once again to our patronies: Odin, Daniel, Drew, Frank, Justin, Derek, Kyle, Wayne, Jordan, Josh, James, Anthony, Russell, Michael, Mario, Gavin, and Matthew. So you too can become a member on patreon.com/ITK Moon Knight. A bonus episode was just released as well, just towards the end of April, on a solo Avengers, I think, one of the stories there with Hawkeye. So go check it out. Consider becoming a member. CLZ Comics at Collectorz.com. Please support them. They are fantastic. I could not live without them. Frank the Think Tank Dukes. Check his IG, his Instagram page, Moon Knight Visions with a Z. Daniel Doing's Fringe Night. You can support him on patreon.com/Fringe Night 27. He's doing great stuff. He posted up his recent cosplay of Moon Knight. Looks absolutely awesome. So thank you so much, Daniel, for sharing. Getting a lot of love from fellow Loonies as well. And finally as well, Drew Tombz. His immense music. I play it all the time. Soundcloud.com/Tombz with a Z, or LURKMUSICK with a CK.bandcamp.com. And finally, Dreamland Comics. Can't forget about you. Use the code MOON and you get 20% off all their online back catalogue. And finally, we're part of the Collective. And again, Rebecca, I'll give a shout out to the awesome shows that you do as well. DCAU, the DC Animated Universe podcast, going great guns there with Alan.
Lots of fun there,
Yeah. Lego, I was in more recently as well, which is pretty cool. And of course, the Sons of the Dragon, an Immortal Iron Fist podcast as well. Have you? I don't want to open up a can of worms here, Rebecca, but the current series, I'm collecting it as well.
Up and down. I think it's very wordy, very exposition-y, and I want to see where the story goes before I fully judge it. So I'm not a massive fan of the art, but that's
okay. Yeah, it's very swordsman heavy as well, but rightly so, he's a new thing. But anyway, you can check out all of their thoughts on Sons of the Dragon and Immortal Iron Fist podcast. Finally, email us. Just send us a message. Actually, did I send us a message on email at feedback@itkmoonnight.com, where we've got a website, itkmoonnight.com. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Discord, Get Vocal, and Podchaser. And I just reminded myself, maybe I'll read that out in the panel. We've got a nice little email from, I'm going to shout out to Kyla. So thank you so much for sending an email. Emails are far and few between. I mean, I guess there's a lot of interaction on social media pages, but it's really nice to get emails. So thank you so much, Kyla. Might read that one out. But thank you. And please, if you'd like to review the show, please do let us know what we can do to make things better too. We always look to improve ourselves. Okay, Rebecca, well, I think that about does us.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Rebecca.
Thank you. What a run.
Oh my God, I feel a little sad as I say. Like
I do as well. I mean, I think we have a comic soon. Like when
I know we got a comic, but I think I might rewatch these things again.
I'll be rewatching. I mean, like for a while, because it's good stuff. I mean,
it is.
It's just nice to have. Oh yeah, Moon Knight. Moon Knight 11 and Black, White, and Blood are on the same day now, I think.
Oh, the 11th or the 25th?
11.
Oh, okay. So it got pushed back again. Pushed forward again, or whatever.
Which one?
Oh, I heard Moon Knight was 25th of May.
But, maybe it is. Maybe my comic shop hasn't updated.
No, okay. Anyway,
we'll have one.
There are comics. Yeah,
there are
exactly.
comics. They exist.
They are good. Strange as well with Shadow Knight and Ghost Rider as well. So plenty to cover. With that, Loony listeners, thank you once again. I hope you've enjoyed the TV show. And as always, may KHONSHU watch over the denizens of the night. Catch you later.
Bye.
Moon Knight and affiliated characters, stories and events are properties of Marvel Characters Incorporated. Materials used and discussed within the podcast are intended for critique and review purposes only under the fair dealing concept of the current Copyright Act. The views, information or opinions expressed during the podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of the copyright owners.